New lockdown rules for parts of northern England. More than 4 million people are told not to mix with those from another household indoors.
Households meeting up and a lack of social distancing is one of the causes of this rising rate of coronavirus, and we'll do whatever is necessary to keep the country safe.
After 4 months of shielding, the vulnerable are told they can go back to work, but charities say people's health is being put at risk.
Good morning. The greatest crisis the industry has ever faced. As airlines count the cost of coronavirus, BA is set to report heavy losses later this morning. I'll speak to his boss, Willie Walsh, here live at Heathrow.
Good morning. Newcastle fans are left confused and heartbroken as the controversial Saudi Arabian takeover of their club is called off. After weeks of uncertainty, the consortium say they've run out of patience.
Let's have a look at this situation in Wales. Children under 11 years old no longer need to keep their distance from other people outdoors. It's part of the changes to lockdown rules being introduced next week. Pubs and cafes will also be allowed to serve customers inside, but there are no plans to make face masks mandatory beyond the use of public transport.
Changes to the BBC licence fee will come into effect tomorrow, delayed, of course, from the 1st of June because of coronavirus.
Nearly 4 million people over the age of 75 who previously received a free TV licence will now have to pay the fee, but households with one person who receives pension credit will still be eligible.
It was just over 20 years ago that the government said it would provide free TV licences for anyone over 75. That has now come to an end. So from tomorrow, only people over 75 on pension credit will be eligible for a free licence. That's around 1.5 million households, which means around 3 million will now have to pay. The BBC says giving everyone over 75 a free licence is something it cannot afford. It's currently costing the corporation around £35 million a month. And to continue, the BBC says it would have to cut its services.
Don't switch yourself!
Everyone over the age of 75 will now receive a letter advising them about what they have to do next. Around 450,000 people have already applied for a free licence, but a number of groups representing the elderly are unhappy with the change.
The BAFTA Television Awards are taking place tonight, but if any of the stars want to be seen on the red carpet this year, they're going to have to set one up in their own home.
The coronavirus pandemic means the ceremony is being held in a closed studio and awards will be accepted by the winners virtually. Let's have a look at the papers for you right now. We'll start with the Daily Mirror. Coronavirus restrictions being tightened for large parts of northern England, making many of the front pages this morning. North in lockdown too, that's the headline in the Daily Mirror.
The Times says 4 million people will be affected by the change in rules, which came in after a rise in cases. Ministers say it's been caused by people failing to observe social distancing rules.
Let's have a look at The Guardian, focusing on a warning from the Trades Union Congress that up to 2 million extremely vulnerable people shielding in England must not be forced to return to their workplaces. It says it would be heartless and reckless for bosses to demand they return to work from the 1st of August, and the government lifts the advice that they should stay at home.
And the Daily Express is leading with a story about a major study which has shown that 40% of cases of dementia in the UK may be avoided or delayed by eating less, exercising more and cutting out alcohol and cigarettes. Also has a picture of a beach and a nod to the warm weather expected today. Are you fitter now after post-lockdown or less fit?
I actually don't think it's made much difference, to be honest.
Really?
Which doesn't say much either way, does it?
Well,
I think it's
no.
pretty much stayed the same, but I know it's affected people in different ways.
It really has. So if you are one of, someone who is very fit and kind of keen to train, these ultra runners who always impress me because they do these ridiculous miles. I mean, one person ran 318 miles, summiting 214 peaks in the Lake District. Basically, because there are no races, their ultra runners are breaking loads more world records. So that's in The Guardian today. It's worth kind of having a look. Later, we're going to discuss the demise of an 80s icon, the Argos catalogue. We've got 80s legend Pat Sharp with us.
Now, for the past 4 months, more than 2 million vulnerable people have been following medical guidance to stay at home to protect themselves from coronavirus.
From tomorrow, though, in England and Scotland, and from today in Northern Ireland, the advice for shielders will be paused. It means that they'll be able to socialise indoors and return to work if they wish, but many have mixed feelings.